Quantum Meditation, Hacking Reality with Your Mind. Welcome back. I am Adeline 11 times published author, and this is the Quantum Humans series. For most people, meditation is a tool for stress relief, focus, or spiritual connection. But in recent years, a new conversation has emerged, one that sits at the intersection of consciousness studies, neuroscience, and quantum physics. Some researchers and practitioners are beginning to ask a radical question. Can the mind, when highly focused, directly influence physical reality at the quantum level? In this video, we explore what quantum meditation really means, how it's being studied, and whether it's possible to train your mind to act as a force of measurable change in the material world. Let's begin with what we know. Traditional meditation has clear scientifically verified effects on the body and brain. Studies using fMRI and EEG have shown that regular meditation changes brain structure, enhancing gray matter in areas linked to memory, attention, and emotion regulation. Long-term meditators also show lower levels of cortisol, improved immune response, and increased heart rate variability. None of this is controversial anymore, but it's all within the framework of internal experience. Quantum meditation suggests something different. It proposes that under certain conditions, focused consciousness can interact with physical systems, not just through the nervous system, but through the quantum field itself. This idea is not based on mystical thinking, but on decades of controversial and often overlooked experiments. One of the most referenced is the double-slit experiment, first performed in the early 1800s but repeated in the 20th century with quantum particles like electrons and photons. When these particles pass through a double slit, they create an interference pattern, unless they're observed. When measured or watched, the interference collapses, and the particles behave like solid objects. This experiment is at the heart of quantum physics, showing that observation changes outcome. Building on this, researchers like Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences have tested whether human attention, focused with intent, can influence quantum events. In one set of experiments, participants were asked to focus on a double-slit system running in a sealed, isolated lab. Remote observers, who had no physical contact with the device, were instructed to direct their awareness toward the system during timed intervals. The results? In some cases, the interference pattern shifted measurably when attention was applied. Skeptics argue that these shifts could be noise, artifacts, or experimental error. But the experiments have been repeated, peer-reviewed, and controlled in multiple settings. And while the effects are subtle, they suggest that consciousness might interact with matter in ways not yet understood. This forms the scientific foundation for what some call quantum meditation, a discipline where the mind is trained not just for clarity or insight, but for causality. Let's look at how it's being practiced. Certain meditation groups, often operating under the radar, are developing protocols that combine focused intention, coherent brainwave states, and non-local awareness. In these sessions, participants enter deep theta or gamma brain states, confirmed via EEG, and direct intention towards specific outcomes, altering random number generators, influencing pH levels in water, or syncing with biological systems in other individuals. These sessions are often synchronized globally, with multiple meditators participating from remote locations. In some cases, participants report real-time shifts in mood, perception, or physical sensation, without contact or communication. In others, minor but statistically significant changes in electronic or biological systems are recorded. These practices borrow concepts from both ancient mysticism and modern physics, particularly theories that view consciousness as a field, not just a brain state. The CIA explored similar territory in the 1983 Gateway Process, a classified report that was declassified in 2003. The document outlines a technique used to access altered states of consciousness for intelligence work. The process combines meditation, audio stimulation, and guided visualization to create hemispheric synchronization, a state where both brain hemispheres operate in unified coherence. The report goes further, claiming that in this state, individuals can access non-local information, remote view, and influence matter through focused will. The Gateway Process was never officially adopted at scale, but it laid the groundwork for modern discussions around the role of consciousness in physics. The report suggested that human consciousness, properly tuned, could tap into the unified field, the foundational level of quantum reality. More recently, physicists like Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff have advanced the OR theory, suggesting that consciousness arises from quantum processes inside the brain's microtubules. According to this model, our thoughts are not just electrical signals, they're quantum state reductions that interact with the underlying field of spacetime. This implies that consciousness and reality are entangled at the subatomic level. If that's true, then training consciousness could theoretically affect more than just mood or focus. It could influence the very probabilities that shape physical events. This would mean that meditation isn't just internal, it's a form of quantum agency. Of course, this is controversial. Most physicists would agree that the human mind is unlikely to impact quantum systems in a direct way. But the history of science includes many once-dismissed ideas, plate tectonics, neuroplasticity, and even the placebo effect, that were later proven real through persistence and empirical rigor. Today, some meditation labs are pushing for that rigor. Institutions like the Monroe Institute and newer neuroscience startups are combining real-time brain imaging with intention experiments. Meditators are guided into specific neural patterns while monitoring target systems, random number generators, chemical reactions, or electronic sensors. The data is collected, analyzed, and cross-referenced with EEG data to look for correlations. While results are still preliminary, one trend is emerging. When large numbers of people enter coherent, focused mental states, especially when synchronized across distance, measurable anomalies increase. This supports the theory that consciousness might behave like a non-local field, and that training groups of people to operate in synchronized quantum states could amplify the effects. Let's talk about applications. If quantum meditation proves valid, it could be used for healing, targeting cells, organs, or genetic expression through guided intention. It could be used for communication, sending or receiving impressions across vast distances without electromagnetic signals. It could also be used for environmental interaction, stabilizing ecosystems, reducing chaos in systems, or even directing growth patterns in bioengineered organisms. But the most immediate use is in self-regulation. Quantum meditation teaches individuals to control internal probabilities, to tune attention, thought, and emotion in ways that reduce entropy inside the body. Practitioners report not just emotional calm, but physical changes, faster wound healing, reduced inflammation, and improved immunity. These are not always measurable with conventional tools, but they are consistent across multiple case studies. The critics say this is placebo. The practitioners say it doesn't matter. If the placebo effect itself is a demonstration of mind over biology, then it's not a weakness, it's a roadmap. Quantum meditation seeks to understand and refine that process into a deliberate skill set. And this brings us to the most difficult question. What is the mind? If consciousness is a field, then training the mind is like tuning an instrument. If the brain is just a receiver, then meditation is the process of adjusting the antenna. If reality is probabilistic, then focused awareness might tilt those probabilities, just slightly, toward desired outcomes. We don't know yet, but we're getting closer. As brain imaging improves, as quantum biology grows, and as formerly taboo ideas are revisited with fresh tools, a new model may emerge, one where the human mind is recognized not as a passive observer of reality, but as a participant. And if that's the case, then quantum meditation isn't about stillness. It's about precision. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing, and no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones. The replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans. The merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.